I was born in Hong Kong, but I grew up in Singapore, Hong Kong, and then Japan. So I came into the North America, U.S. for university. Stayed there for about 7 years, and then I immigrated to Canada in 1976. So I've basically been here 50 years. I get involved with a lot of what we call extracurricular activities. The late 70s and early 80s, I was involved in social movement, political movement among Chinese Canadians, like getting equal rights, as well as I co-founded a Asian Canadian magazine that promotes writers and artists in our community, but mostly is promoting an Asian identity, an Asian Canada identity. So that has always been sort of the work I do as a background outside of my professional life. I remember going to the streets, joining a protest march. At that time it was totally peaceful. It was a mass demonstration. We had similar to 2019. We have 1 million people march. I think the highest was 1.5 million one day, and that was 1989. And it was at that time still under British rule. So there were a lot of guaranteed freedoms and freedom of assembly, freedom of speech. In fact, a lot of politicians, Hong Kong politicians, were kind of agreeing with the mass because you cannot be in Hong Kong and not be affected by what was happening in Tiananmen Square. And of course, when it comes down to the massacre on the night of June 3rd and June 4th, everybody remember where you were. People were watching television. And then I still remember going out to demonstrate on June 7th, the third day of, it was a big protest march. TADC was founded on May 27, late May, to support the students. So we would either donate money to help out the students, just like the people in Hong Kong did. There were colorful tents donated by Hong Kong people for the students and the hunger strikers and so forth. So it's all that kind of very material support, and plus, of course, moral support for the students at that time. When it turned to massacre, then we became more of an activist organization, pressing for civil rights in China. I remember in the 10th anniversary, 1999, we had 10,000 people out in Toronto. Our first actually march peaceful demonstration was, I believe, late May, just before the crackdown. We had 30,000 people at Nathan Phillips Square. So it was a very sizable population. I mean, all walks of life, not just Chinese Canadians, but certainly a lot of people who are non-Chinese would come to show their support. I couldn't remember whether it was before or after the massacre, but certainly around that time. Mm-hmm. So that's what we do. Been doing all these years in Canada, and in fact, we're still doing the candlelight vigil every year. just on the domestic, we have helped quite a number of dissidents, either clandestinely or openly. And this is something that we do with human rights in China as well. That we do things together that facilitate people coming out to Canada. For example, when Wang Dan was released, we were first to host him in Toronto and give him the exposure, give him the media opportunity to speak to Canadian media. So that's the kind of thing that we do as sort of background work. But the most important thing that we do at that time, for about 7 years, we would team up with a coalition of international NGOs to lobby at the Geneva's Commission on Human Rights, CHR. It now becomes Human Rights Council, and I don't know what happened after that now. But at that time, we were urging the international community to pass a resolution condemning China for human rights violations in Tiananmen Square. Yes, I've been targeted, but in my case, it was fairly subtle. I did not, or at least I thought I did not receive any phone call, although sometimes the phone would ring and I would think it would be a spam call, but it may not be a spam call. But I'm the lucky one. A lot of people get death threats. Basically, they have phone calls in the middle of the night and say, you better watch yourself, or you better watch your kids. I know where your kid lives. I know as far back as 2003, when I was in Hong Kong, I was being followed. This is just, I was there as a filmmaker. You know, I was attending a film festival, and I was followed, and then, of course, was openly confronted. I just happened to have a T-shirt of kind of pro-democracy message, and somebody who is dressed very smartly in a suit and carrying a briefcase, which you don't find in film festival. People don't dress a suit and carry a briefcase unless they're an actor. He would be in the audience, and the Q&A, he would stand up and ask me a question. He said, "Is that the T-shirt mean something? Do you have a message in your film?" And I knew who he was. He's obviously somebody from the either Chinese news agency or one of the China institutes in Hong Kong, who are there to keep an eye on people. So I'm sure they know from the time I enter Hong Kong. Or if I'm on a watch list, then of course they would know that if I enter Hong Kong, they would be able to follow me, or they notice me on the program, the film festival program, that they know I'm going to be showing my film there. Of course, they'll send somebody there to do the Q&A. I'm not scared. I'm more kind of. I don't think I'm their target because I'm a critic. I don't organize. The CCP really worry about people organizing. Falun Gong is an example where they organize resistance. They're really worried about that. When you have a group effort of organizing people. Yeah. People like Jimmy Lai, they fear because he has the voice. He has voice to the Apple Daily and all those stuff. So he can, if he wants to, he can, organize and get people to mobilize people. Let's say, not organize, mobilize people. But I can mobilize anyway. So I don't feel I'm a threat to them. I'll give you an example of infiltration. It's the Montreal Family Services Association. It was a small Montreal social service organization. I was in Montreal, and my friend founded it. My friend was very progressive, and he was into the whole civil of social service with families and elders and whatnot. But who is now the sponsor of this police station in Montreal? That's them. Because over the 40 years, China gradually kind of put their own people in. So you have the people who are very pro-China to be on the board. And eventually the whole board switch over to become very pro-China. That's what we call China proxies. Mm-hmm. And the Chinese can do that by giving you benefits, as in, if you do this for me, I will introduce you to businesses in China, or I would facilitate you, or even inviting you to the embassy for National Day celebration and giving you the recognition. A lot of people like that. They want the name and the face that comes with being a leader of the community and so forth. So that's that psychology that China uses quite a bit. I think they try to, but not enough. Mm-hmm. The reason is, I'll give you a very simple answer. I think we in the West are sometimes naive to think that, I can give you all kinds of examples, commercial contracts and whatnot, thinking that China will behave according to international law. Or the fact that because it's a private company, has no liaison with the Chinese Communist Party, it should be independent. But that's not right. That's not true. Even the banks, the big banks that you think is a British-based bank, but if they have enough, the Chinese government always place a Communist Party member on the board.